How do?
Hold on. Just type test question under that. Just for, okay. Okay. So Kenan can type, but I know he has Google. Okay. Go down where it says your questions. Okay. Kenan, delete your question.
How do?
Hold on. Just type test question under that. Just for, okay. Okay. All right. So type. I know he has. People are able to type questions, so that's good. So hopefully the reconstruction is Kenan, do you want to do like a checklist or something, like to see who logged on? Do you want them to sign their name or something, or no?
Hold on a second. So,
Yeah, a lot of people talking.
yeah, we got problems. So do we need to put our headphones in?
Is there an issue? What's wrong?
Because we're hearing a lot of echoes, which means.
So that's good. Well, you know what? Then yeah, put your headphones in just to be safe. Let me go get mine.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Yeah, we've got problems. So do we need to put our headphones in?
What's wrong?
Because we're hearing a lot of echoes, which means.
Well, you know what? Then yeah, put your headphones in. Okay. Somebody has a lot of feedback in the background. Hey, Lynn, can you put some headphones on?
I have headphones on, sir.
You do? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let me mute you right quick. Kenan, it's your phone. Yeah, as soon as I muted you, it went away. So I don't know what you're doing, Kenan, but get rid of it. We got 2 viewers. Welcome. Feedback in the background. Kenan. Okay. I'm gonna mute you there. Now, what do you think? Should we take a sign in or something, or what? It's your phone.
Dion.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
The question. Where are the questions for? Give me the website one more time.
The CYAM.net. Welcome, viewer number 3. It's on you, man.
It's on me whenever we're ready.
Welcome, viewer number 3. Kenan, what's going on? You're whoa. It's on you.
It's on me whenever we're ready. It's on me whenever we're ready.
All right, Lynn, do you want to give some introductions as to how things are going to go tonight?
All right, can you hear me? Okay. Good evening, everybody. This is the General Conference orientation for the Connectional Young Adult Ministry. We're going to, the structure of the conversation is going to go like something like this. We have 3 presentations about just some basic information. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm getting an echo, a very late echo right now. You know what it is? We have to close the live feed. I can't hear you, Dion.
Is there a way to mute it?
We cannot be on this Connectional Young Adult website while we are on the Hangout.
Just mute the Connectional website. Just mute it. You don't have to close it out completely.
Okay, because I was getting like a really late feedback. Okay.
Yeah, so those who are logged on to the CYAM website who are answering questions, just mute the video that's on the website.
Well, no, we don't want them to mute the video.
No, just you. So those who are answering questions, I'm sorry. So our panelists, all of our panelists, if you have the CYM website up, mute the live stream video, but leave your Google Hangout open.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so moving forward, so Reverend Freeman McKendra is going to lead us in a discussion. He's going to start our first presentation, walking us through how we get from the annual conference to the general conference. Then Reverend Keenan Klein Winters. Reverend Keenan Klein Winters is going to walk us through just some who's who, tell us who the characters are of the general conference, and then I'm going to give a brief explanation of what folks should expect at the general conference. Okay. So, Freeman, Reverend McKendra, would you like to start us off? Also, Reverend Dion Broughton will be helping us with our technical proficiencies here. So, Dion, could you cue the slideshow while Freeman begins? Ladies and gentlemen, Freeman McKendra, 4th Episcopal.
Hold on 1 second.
Maybe I should come in like Arsenio Hall or something like that.
Hey, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
I'm getting ready to mute those who are not speaking.
Dion, I see you.
You see me?
I do.
Okay, no. There we go.
I got it. There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
All right. More technical difficulties. Can you see that? Can everyone see this? Well, Freeman, can you see this? You're free to go, Freeman. You're free to go, Freeman. Is Freeman still connected with us?
No, I can't hear him.
Okay, then what do you want to do now? Do you want to go to the next thing and come back, or see if we can get reconnected with Freeman?
Well, you have Freeman's on twice on his cell phone. I think you need to unmute his cell phone.
I see both of them as being unmuted. Hold on, let me see. Okay, Freeman, can you? He just logged out of one of them, so I don't know if this is the one where you know.
You see being unmuted. You can hear me now?
Okay, we're back. You're free to go ahead, Freeman.
Okay, cool. All right. Ask well, general introduction of general conferences. Here in this introductory slide that you see here is kind of the way in which we began thinking about the concept of building blocks, whereas the annual conference is a building block component.
We apologize. We lost the audio again.
The 37th quadrennial session and the 38th general conference of the church. Dion, you can actually go forward for one more. Hello?
Let's set the next slide. Do you need to go further, or is this the slide?
Yes, go forward. Forward one more.
We lost audio again, waiting for Freeman to reconnect.
So, general conference is composed of both clerical delegates and lay representatives to general conference. The clerical delegates, as you see in the presentation, are elected from the annual conference, and then thereby are made eligible to participate in the general conference. Dion, are you still with me?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. There are actually some stipulations given in the discipline for clerical delegates, as you see here in paragraph 201.4 of your discipline. These clerical delegates must be at least 18 years of age, and they have to have traveled at least 4 years from the time when they were received on trial and are actually then voted into full connection at the holding of the annual conference to be made eligible for being a general conference delegate. Roll to the next one. I still have the slide that says clerical delegates. Do you have the one that says lay delegates?
Yes, lay delegates is displayed now.
Lay delegates is displayed now. Lay delegates to the general conference shall be elected by the lay delegates from the annual conference. Again, the stipulation suggests that they and that at the moment they are elected.
Freeman, your audio is going in and out, so I recommend that you just do it directly off of your phone because it's going in and out, and it's not a strong signal. As we wait for Freeman's audio to come back, we encourage you all, if you have any follow-up questions or anything that you want further expressed or explained, there is a Google Doc that's right beneath the video on our website, and you'll be able to type a question, whatever you want, under your questions on the Google Doc. We'll all be able to see it. So if you post your question, we'll make sure that we respond to it. Oh, Lynn, are you there? Lynn, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Yes.
Okay. As you're waiting for Freeman to get his audio together, do you want to go to another part of the presentation? Or?
Sure. Keenan, would you like to? Are you able to start your part?
And where does that start at, so I'll know where to forward to?
The CME logo.
Okay.
Yes, I'm able. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, hold on one second, Keenan. Let me make sure I can.
Not the red CME logo, the black CME logo.
Okay. All right, Keenan, you're live.
So my presentation is regarding the major players or actors, those acting parties within the General Conference. Can you move to the next slide? The CME's General Conference, the CME's governmental structure is comprised of 3 branches, much relative to our government in the United States, legislative, the General Conference, executive, the College of Bishops, and judicial, the Judicial Council. Next slide. The executive branch, each year of the General Conference, one active bishop will preside over the business sessions. It is their responsibility to execute the agenda of the conference for that particular day based on the rules and regulations of the general, set by the General Conference. They are to be fair and impartial, certainly to provide the members with an opportunity to speak from the floor and to maintain order and decorum. Next slide. The legislative branch is really where the power is in the General Conference. Certainly the policy making, as Freeman noted earlier, lay and clergy members elected from the various annual conferences, and those persons are the members of the General Conference. They have the right to speak from the floor, to engage in deliberations, as well as vote on all the issues that come before the General Conference. Also, they are tasked with attending the meetings of the committees to which they're assigned. There are several standing committees that outline specific areas of concern within the General Conference. Resolutions are sent to those specific committees, and the committees receive, discuss, ask questions, and seek out additional information to make a recommendation to the General Conference on all of those matters. And as we'll hear later, as well as in the frequently asked questions, there's a vote of a recommendation of concurrence, approval, non-concurrence, disagreement, and recommendation of disapproval or concurrence with changes, meaning general agreement and recommendation of approval with certain changes. You can find the standing committees in the discipline as referenced in this slide. Next slide. Lastly, the judicial branch, the judicial council, they're present during the General Conference to determine the constitutionality of any action the General Conference may make. Bishops can pose questions of constitutionality to the Judicial Council. As well, they are able to settle disagreements within the body and make declaratory judgments and interpret the meaning within the church's law. Slide.
Does that conclude your presentation?
That concludes my presentation, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah. Dion, could you go back and try Freeman's again? Freeman, is your microphone fixed? Freeman, can you say something?
Freeman, can you say something?
You hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes. Freeman, we can't hear you.
Can Can you hear me now? You should be able to hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Yes. Dion, can you go to delegates? It should be the third slide in the presentation.
So the third slide.
Third slide.
Before we go to that next part, I think someone had posted a question, and I think that question states, does the lay delegates have to be a delegate to the annual conference to be elected?
There is no rule in the discipline that says you have to be a member of the annual conference to be elected as a lay delegate from that annual conference. And when I say a member, I mean a delegate from your local church. There is no rule that says that. But you do, the only stipulation concerning lay voting for lay delegates are that the lay delegate, the persons being voted upon be 18 and lay members of the CME church.
Okay, let's give that a pause because they have a little delay. In us. All right, Freeman, if you're clear, you can go ahead and start at clerical delegates.
The thing that we wanted to point out about clerical delegates is the clerical delegates must at least be 18. They must have at least traveled for 4 years.
Freeman, there's a lot of issues with your audio. Then let's try to go ahead and proceed. Freeman, see if you can disconnect directly to your phone. Can you do that for us? All right, Lynn, you're live.
Okay. We are going to Freeman, were you? Freeman's unmuted, but I can't hear him. Okay. Well, let's just move forward. Let's move forward. Dion, can you forward the slides to what to expect with the red logo? So my part of my assignment is to detail what you should expect when you're going to the General Conference in Baltimore this year. One of the things that we are looking for, I'm sorry, Dion, can you move to the next slide? Thank you. So one of the things we're looking for, and this is probably one of the more important aspects of the General Conference, is the keynote address. And so how the keynote address works is it's composed by the College of Bishops, but is delivered by the bishop who was first elected at the last General Conference, the senior most bishop of the newest class. So this year, Bishop Walker will deliver that address, Bishop James Walker, because he is the senior most bishop. That means he was elected first at our last General Conference. And that's not in the discipline. That's not necessarily a rule. That's just sort of CME tradition. It's been that way for quite a while. So in that keynote address, the idea is to sort of give some vision, a broad vision of what the church needs to be focusing on in the next 4 years. Last quadrennium, or this quadrennium actually, in Mobile, we received the keynote address from Bishop Thomas Brown, the Essential Church. And so that was our focus for the last 4 years. Next slide. The next thing you can expect at the General Conference is reporting. The general officers as well as the bishops have to report on what they've done in the last 4 years. There is a form, there's a formula rather, or some requirements that bishops have in their quadrennial reports, and that can be found in the discipline. In paragraph 434, general officers also must give reports, and the reports are heard by the entire conference, but they're received just by different committees. So, for example, the Committee on Episcopacy would receive the bishop's report. Next slide. Legislating. So many of us have received our blue books, the resolution books. If you're a delegate, you've received this by email or by mail. These are the proposed pieces of legislation for changes to the discipline, this book, CME Church law. The way that resolutions work, you submit a resolution by a certain date. The resolution committee organizes those resolutions into a book, and then the delegates receive those resolutions to look over before the General Conference. When we get to General Conference, each resolution will be, each resolution has already been assigned a topic. So you'll see topics like connectional administration, finance, itineracy. I think each has a topic that is assigned to a committee. So a resolution that is assigned the topic itineracy will go to the itineracy committee. The itineracy committee makes decisions about resolutions concerning pastors moving, things that concern what it takes for preachers to get licensed, getting their orders, those kinds of things. And so once the committee receives those resolutions, the committee will come back to the General Conference to recommend action on a particular resolution. So the resolution may go to the itineracy committee, and the itineracy committee will say, we recommend that this resolution be adopted with changes. And the General Conference gets to vote on whether or not they want to adopt that resolution with the necessary changes that the committee has suggested. And so the important thing to emphasize here is that the General Conference makes the last decision, makes the final decision. The final decision is made by the General Conference on all resolutions. Committees cannot pass resolutions. Bishops cannot pass resolutions. It must be passed by the General Conference. Next slide.
Lynn, I'm gonna go just 2 slides back just so people can see them. I was made aware that these slides were not displayed on the live stream. So I'm just going to go back and show the past 2 slides for about 3 seconds, and then I'll move to the next one. Okay?
Okay, sounds good. Can you all hear me? Can you hear me? I'm going to actually, while you're showing that, while you're showing those slides, I want to maybe dilate just a little bit on this resolution piece and the relationship between the general conference and the committees. So if you are a delegate and you have a problem with the decision a committee has come to, you can once a motion is made to adopt that, you can state your issue, right? You can say, well, I don't think that this is wise, or this isn't, or I think we should do this, or whatever. As a delegate, you have the right to be, to I don't want to necessarily use the word protest, but certainly ask questions about, dig into certain kinds of resolutions and what the committees, how the committees reach a certain conclusion. So I want to make sure that everyone is clear about that. It's been done before. It's not an unusual thing. Again, the final decision belongs to the General Conference and the delegates of the General Conference. So are we caught up?
Just a few seconds for this one.
Oh, elections and appointments. We're on the next slide. So the bishops, general officers, with the exception of the missionary president, and the judicial council members are elected at the General Conference. You will see that if you look in the discipline at the order of business for the General Conference, that elections are not there. The reason for that is that we do not elect officers at every General Conference. That's not a thing that is always necessary. What happens is that in case of the bishops, for example, the Committee on Episcopacy meets and looks at bishops who are retiring and says, well, bishops X, Y, and Z are retiring. We need to elect 3 bishops. Or if for whatever reason a bishop cannot serve an Episcopal region or an Episcopal district, then the Committee on Episcopacy would say, the Committee on Episcopacy will come back to the General Conference and say, we need to elect this many bishops. And the General Conference gets, again, like any other committee recommendation, gets to vote on that. So if the General Conference decides that it does not want to elect, more or fewer bishops than what is recommended, then again, that's the prerogative of the General Conference. The same. So once those recommendations are made, we have elections, and then bishops receive appointments from the Episcopacy Committee. And Episcopal appointments are, each general department, each connectional ministry. So, for example, Bishop Reddick, Bishop Lawrence Reddick, is the patron bishop of the Women's Missionary Society. That's an appointment he received from the Episcopal Committee. Bishop Paul Stewart is the chairperson for the General Board of Personnel Services. That's an appointment. That's an appointment he received from the Episcopal Committee. So we can, and again, this is in your discipline on paragraph 1407. All of the appointments that bishops can receive. So next slide. Judicial action. So if a charge is brought up against a general officer or bishop, the judicial process would take place at the General Conference. If there is a question about the constitutionality, Keenan mentioned this, if there's a question about the constitutionality of a resolution or a General Conference decision, then again the Judicial Board, Judicial Council, excuse me, would step in to comment on that. It works the same way as the Supreme Court or any judicial branch of the government. So they make decisions about church law and whether or not certain actions that we're taking are in concert with the discipline. And again, they hear charges and go through the judicial process. Next slide. And that's it. That's it. So those are the things that you could expect at the General Conference. Now, I'd like us to try one more time, because I see our good Reverend Freeman McKendra is reporting to us live from outdoors, ready with a working microphone. Take it away. Freeman McKendra, everybody.
Yeah, this is literally reporting live from Olive Branch, Mississippi. Literally reporting live. I believe that we have essentially covered most of our bases. Dion, go to the next slide, the lay delegate side. I think that's the most important slide for the bulk of our listeners. Here, paragraph 201.5 suggests that lay delegates to the General Conference, we had a question about this earlier. Is it possible for a lay delegate to be elected to the General Conference without being a recognized member, a voting member of the annual conference? And Lynn did a really good job of answering that question. The caveat that I wanted to add is that even if the individual who is attempting, the layperson who is not a member of the annual conference is looking to be elected to the General Conference, they still must be voted on by those recognized delegates, those recognized lay delegates at the annual conference. The stipulation that's there in bold at the bottom, it says that every region should have at least one young adult between 18 and 35 elected as a regular delegate from their annual conference to the General Conference. So we hope that all of our regions will be able to make sure that we've done our due diligence with reporting or making sure that we've elected at least one young adult delegate to the General Conference from each annual conference. Dion, you can roll forward. The critical thing about alternates, not only are there lay delegates and clergy delegates, but we also elect alternate delegates from each region. Each region will actually elect both clergy and lay alternate delegates to the General Conference. And once we arrive, you will notice that there is special seating set up for not only the voting clergy and lay delegates, but there's a section for the alternate delegates, so that alternate delegates are prepared to step in the moments that they are needed. Both clergy, lay, and alternate delegates are given the same material so that everyone will be on the same page while we're there as we're pouring through resolutions and as we are voting. Dion, I believe you can roll forward one more.
I think that is that's it for your slides.
Yes,
And
that's it.
so we had 3 presentations, and now we're going to get further direction from Brother Lynn Hardgrove.
Yes, so I checked the questions form on the CYAM website, and just want to give folks another chance to ask questions if there are any, if there's something that we need to expound upon, whether it's, you know, specific roles of people, of individuals in the General Conference that Kenan talked about, what we would call in General Conference language credentials, which is a lot of what Freeman talked about, credentials, the process of being duly elected, or what you should expect at the General Conference. One thing while folks are thinking about that, one thing I just wanted to double back on and emphasize that it's on the frequently asked question sheet. You do need a discipline. If you do not have a discipline, you need to buy one, because while there will be a program printed of the General Conference, the daily order of business is in the discipline. The order of business is in the discipline, as well as a lot of other helpful information. So again, I know they had a sale. It says Red Book. Make sure you get the Red Discipline from 2010, because that's the quadrennium we're in. They're on they're on sale in Miles Bookstore right now. So make sure in the next 3 weeks you find yourself a discipline if you are a delegate or alternate delegate.
Now, for those who may not know, you are free to post questions on the Google Doc that's immediately under the video that you're viewing on the website. So if you scroll down, it should say your questions, and then there's a question that says AA delegates have to be a delegate. You can type in questions, and we're able to see them, and once we see them, we'll answer them promptly. So those who still have questions, please feel free to type your questions.
Mm-hmm.
Another quick little point of emphasis: make sure when you get there, not only do you need a discipline, as Lynn emphasized, but make sure you also bring your resolutions book. If you have it on your electronic motif, that would be great, but I think it's also great to have a printed copy of it. As you're there in your committees, you'll want the opportunity to make sure you take notes to understand how things are potentially being changed, or what things are potentially being added or omitted. So you make sure you want to bring that with you. I do not believe that additional copies will be provided for us once we arrive. The copy that was sent to you either electronically or by mail will be your official copy. So make sure you bring that along with your discipline.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's actually that's really important. I don't want to rank here, but I would say your resolution book is probably a little bit more important than the discipline, just because you won't know what folks are talking about if you don't have a resolution book. I mean, just so you get a sense of the way it flows. Committee reporting is always happening. there will always be a committee. If we're not in a service, if we're not hearing a sermon, we're hearing a committee recommendation. So this is an ongoing thing. It happens all day. So definitely have your resolution book with you at all times. Put your name in it, because again, as Freeman said, I don't remember them offering us any extra copies of that resolution book. I don't remember that ever happening. The other thing I wanted to address, and then I'll be quiet unless Keenan and Freeman have other things they want to emphasize. Your committees. This was in the frequently asked questions sheet, but most delegates are assigned a committee to serve on. If you don't know what the purpose of your committee is, you should ask your bishop. If you've been told that you are on a committee and you don't know what that committee does, you need to find out. You need to be proactive about that. Don't wait till you get to the committee meeting and then find out, I'm on the committee of episcopacy and they're talking about bishops, so this must be about bishops. You should really find out what your committee is doing before you get there. I'm trying to look for it in the discipline. There's an explanation of special committees that I'm trying to find, but until I find it, ask your bishop.
Lynn, there's
Lynn, also while you are searching for that piece, hopefully if you have not received your committee assignment already from your bishop, again, be proactive about finding that as quickly as possible. You actually want to have read through all of the resolutions for your committee before you get to General Conference. Once you get into your committee, you won't have as much time to sit there and pour through each resolution. So hopefully by the time you arrive, you've already looked at the resolutions that correspond with your specific committee. So if you're on connectional ministries, you should take time to read through each resolution for the connectional ministries resolution section. That's critically important. Committee, don't be shy. There will be opportunities to actively serve in helping present your committee's recommendations. Those opportunities will be available. Likewise, there'll be opportunities to help people understand and comprehend what's being asked in the resolutions. Hopefully, young adults will utilize their gifts and graces to be active in that space.
There's a question, or more so a request. It's been posed on the question forum. Could you tell the first-time delegates real-time situations such as the length of meetings, the election process, and this person said they think this is necessary for delegates to understand that it's literally an all-day process. So can you go further into detail about some more real-time situations, length of meetings, and the election process?
If you would allow me first, let me cleverly tie that into what I was trying to do with finding the committee information. If you can find your committee information in the Book of Discipline on paragraph 1500.8. 1500.8 gives a description of the responsibilities of the standing committees. If you go on to 1500.11, it gives you responsibilities for the special committees. Now, because the committees will be meeting frequently, because the committees will be reporting frequently, because we have so many resolutions, because we have an election process, because there's so much that we need to do in a general conference, this is an all-day process. You will be arriving, you will be expected to arrive at the in the ballroom or the main meeting room, to be in your delegation at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock a.m., and you should not expect to leave until 9, 8, 9, 10, 11 sometimes in the evening. It is an all-day process. Of course, there are lunch breaks. There are dinner breaks. You know, there are breaks, but you know, it's not like a an annual conference. Sometimes you get a 2-hour dinner break or a 3-hour dinner break. You know, you adjourn at 3 o'clock. You don't come back till 7. That shouldn't be. You should not. You shouldn't expect that.
Now, Lynn, I have a follow-up question. Would you be able to elaborate as to how important and vital it is that they stay in the sessions and meetings throughout the whole long day process? Because I know though it may be their first time, it may seem boring, or they may not know fully what's going on, so they might make their own break. Can you just really stress how important it is that they will, that they should be in the meetings and be present?
Sure. We were elected by our annual conferences. We were elected by our regions to go to this meeting. We are being paid for, many of us, by our regions to go to this meeting. And so I really just kind of want to couch this as, this is your duty. This is your duty. It is your duty to be a part of this meeting. It is your duty to be present. It is your duty to speak for the people you represent, because that's why you ran. That's why they sent you. And so the other really important thing is that if you are not in your seat in certain times, I've seen plenty of times leaders of delegations send in alternates to replace delegates. Sister Johnson went to the bathroom 45 minutes ago, hadn't been back. Somebody said they saw her, shopping, send in the alternate. So, I mean, you could, and you look, you look silly when your bishop's looking for you and you're not in the delegation. So, that's the other thing that's important. When I was in Alabama, when I lived in Alabama, when we went to Mobile, and there were plenty of times my bishop was looking for me. My bishop was looking for me in the delegation, and I was there. So you never know when you may be called upon. So it's always important to be present. I hope I didn't overemphasize that, but really, it is your duty. It is irresponsible not to be there when you're supposed to be there.
Thanks, Lynn. Is there anybody else that might want to respond to that follow-up question as to how important it is for them to be present?
Definitely. The General Conference is an opportunity for us to effectively shape the future of the church. It gives us the opportunity to help guide the principles and policies by which the church continues to move and work from and through, not just now, but into the future. Your work on the resolution committee, your work while they're voting on the floor, are all critical in that process. So the hope is that not only are you there because you know your bishop will be looking for you, but hopefully you're also there out of a sense of commitment to making sure that the church becomes what you want the church and need the church to become in the future. Hopefully, if we go into it with that mindset, that this is as critical as a worship experience, as critical as encountering God in who we are. This is our lived experience and expression of how we are to live out our faith. So hopefully we operate from that sense of conviction as well.
Okay, is there anybody else that might want? Well, Kate is the last person. Peter, do you want to say something towards that, or?
Yeah, well, we just simply wanted to add in terms of understanding how the length of days, especially with respect to what Lynn was saying about the from early morning to late night, we are also cramming formally 10 days worth of work into 7. So that needs to be kept in context. Um,
And you know,
that
and, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
And if it helps, like, get some coffee or something. I mean, get things to help you stay alert and stay awake. Yeah, do something. Do something to help yourself. Hang in there. Be strong. You can do it.
Cram.
It's just like studying for that late night exam.
But wait, I'm sorry. But it is. I just want to. I want to jump on something Freeman said, because the stakes of this are serious. These are very serious stakes, and it's not yeah, you don't want to look silly, your bishop, whatever. You have personal things to sort of lose from not being where you're supposed to be, but this is a very serious meeting. We're deciding very serious things. The budget of the CME Church is passed at this meeting. So you will be paying for this. You will be paying for the decisions that are made, literally paying for the decisions that are made at this meeting. Because it's where we set the budget, it's where we elect our leaders, it's where we make this, really important decisions in terms of, CME law. And so it's really, the stakes are really high, particularly for young adults, because what we don't want to be said is that we let them in this meeting and they weren't paying attention. That's all I have. That's all I got.
All right then. So are there any other questions that people might want to pose to our panelists on tonight? Or is there anything that you all just have off the top of your head that might need to be addressed?
You all should, if you're a delegate and an alternate, you should do your research not just about the resolutions, but the individuals offering themselves for office. You really, we're getting a lot of campaign materials. You really should read those things. You should ask questions. You really want to try your best to be a responsible voter in every aspect of what we're doing here. So do your homework. Not just definitely do your homework on the resolutions, on the pieces of legislation, but also do your homework on the individuals who are offering themselves for various positions. Kenny wanted to say something.
Kenny, you're free to talk, but someone, while you're getting ready to speak, someone posed a question. After reviewing the daily program, it looks like the days are packed. How do we know when we are supposed to be where? So again, how do we know when we are supposed to be where? Whoever wants to answer that question.
You will almost always be in the general ballroom or meeting. Almost that's really where you will spend most of your time, within your delegation in the main meeting room. For the committee meetings, there will be, the orderlies will pass out the room assignments. And so, if there are changes to room assignments, usually the executive secretary announces that. So again, another good reason to be in your seat where you're supposed to be, because you never know when your room may change. But yeah, I hope that answers the question. When you also when you get your registration packet, when you get the souvenir journal or the program for the general conference, there will be room assignments next to each event. So it'll say communion in the McKendra room, Episcopacy Committee meeting in the Harbor room, all that good stuff. So yeah, and you'll see that also in the program where you need to be, the location of where you need to be.
Adding to that, typically your committee assignment rule does not change. More often than not, your committee will continue to meet in the same location. And again, if it does change, the information will be either or it will be made known to you.
Repeat that, Freeman. It broke up a little bit. We didn't hear those last two sentences.
A simple reminder that typically your committee assignment will meet in the same room. And if it changes, then it often will be posted.
All right. Are there any other questions that anyone may want to ask while all of our panelists are on?
There is a delay, so because I just tuned into the website.
Yes, about a 5 to 6 second delay.
Okay. Keenan wanted to say something. Keenan, he was fixing his mouth. You could see him fixing his mouth.
I'm going to ask this question of Lynn, Lynn or Freeman. In terms, with respect to the candidates, will there be any time for interaction or hearing from them at the general conference? Candidates running for bishop or general officer.
I don't think so. You won't. Well, if you hear from them, it will not be in a way where they can express their platform. You might hear them in as they serve, in various capacities in, the general conference. But there will not be an opportunity. If I hear your question correctly, there will not be an opportunity for individuals to hear candidates in the general conference meeting. If you go outside of the meeting space, you might see booths. So, are you trying to say, even though I made a comment about doing your homework, that it might be too late because spring convocations are over?
Well, no. I was just kind of pointing at the fact that, or guess, trying to elaborate on your point to do your homework, because even in the 2010 General Conference, I recall the candidates having 1 minute to speak before the General Conference to give whatever you can provide people in 1 minute. And so I just kind of wanted to point out you probably won't hear from them in a meaningful way. So you will probably want to do your homework in terms of candidates and that kind of thing.
That's helpful. Yeah, I didn't remember that. So thank you for. I didn't remember that at all. But thank you for pointing that out.
Okay, there was a second portion to the question that was asked earlier. It says, how do we know where and are supposed to be and when? So the when was asked.
I'm sorry, I don't think I understand.
The question was, after reviewing the daily program, it looks like the days are packed. How do we know where we are supposed to be and when?
You
So
will you will know after looking at the program.
And let me ask this, Dion: is the list of frequently asked questions, is it posted anywhere on the website?
it's directly beneath the live stream. So they'll be able to type questions as they watch the video.
Well, I'm referring to the questions that we already set up.
The frequently asked questions?
Yes.
Yeah, if they right next to the video, the live stream video, is a link where they can download the PDF file.
Okay. Well, right. So why don't you say that again so that people can hear it? Because if you have not seen the general conference schedule just yet, there's a link to it in this in the document, the frequently asked question sheet, and you'll see the times of everything that, at least general times of certain things in the agenda of the general conference. But also, as Lynn stated, when you get there and get your registration packet, you will have a more detailed program.
All right.
Freeman, I'm just curious now.
I don't think he's online. Yeah, he's down right now.
Oh, okay.
I have a question on my cell phone that I'm going to lift, and I want to say that I'm leaning on the knowledge of Lynn and Freeman, because I've not yet served as a general conference delegate, so they have more expertise in this area than I do. This question is, since there are committee deliberations, will there be any deliberations allowed when we get to the general conference floor after the committee has made their recommendation?
Can you ask that one more time? Because I want to make sure they understand it as well as me.
Let me type this. This question is,
Someone has the live stream video up. Can you make sure that you mute that so that we don't hear that playback? And for all those who did not hear the question, Keenan is typing the question now under the Google Doc that's right beneath the live stream video. So if you scroll down, you'll be able to see the question in print now.
all right, the question is posted.
Since there are committee deliberations, will there be any Since there are committee deliberations, will there be any deliberations allowed when we get to the general conference floor after a committee has made their recommendations? Will there be any deliberations allowed when we get to? So a couple things can happen. There are a couple scenarios that can happen. The general conference can decide that it does not want to go with the committee's recommendation, and the general conference can someone on the general conference can say, I make a motion to send this this resolution back to the committee for revisions, for further revisions. So that can happen, where you send the resolution back to the committee for them to think about it a little longer, right?
Now, when that happens, does that mean that it's being tabled? Because I mean, will there be more time for that committee to meet? So if they're sending it back to the committee and that committee doesn't meet, does that essentially mean that they're tabling it?
They are tabling it, but the committees are always well, they're not always meeting, but they meet frequently. They meet frequently. They meet frequently. So if something gets sent back to a committee and the general conference says, you know, that's what we're going to do, then it's going back to the committee. The committee's going to have to find, you know, time to work it into the next time they meet. The only scenario, and Freeman can jump in on this. The only scenario that I would see that not being hard for us to do is the budget, because the budget is discussed on the very last day, almost at the very last minute. So it's really difficult for us to do a lot of going back and forth with committees on that kind of thing, because we have to get out. Does that make sense? Another scenario that could happen.
Yeah.
I think Freeman's trying to say something. Are you trying to say something, Freeman?
Yeah, I'll give you an example. In 2010, I had the opportunity to serve on the Itineracy Committee, and we went back and forth from committee back to the floor, back to committee, back to the floor, attempting to hammer out the language the discipline now carries that gives voice to whether or not clergy persons are required to receive particular academic training before they're ordained. So the process, Lynn did a wonderful job of describing. Yes, you can find yourself in a committee coming up with a committee recommendation, submitting that to the floor sending it back to committee, and the committee then has to take time to come back to the floor with a new recommendation from the committee. Yes, that can happen. I'm hoping that's the essence of the question that they're asking. But yes, that is a possibility. Again, time is condensed, so in those instances, your committee may expect to be in committee meeting till midnight till you come up with a nice recommendation.
Now, I'm reading the question one more time, and the other part of that was deliberations on the floor. I don't ever, Freeman, help me with this, I don't ever remember us as a general conference deliberating, like arguing over language. The committee really crafts and shapes the language and the actions of a resolution. The general conference votes. That's what we do. We vote. We decide whether we want it or not.
So man, I have a question then. I have a question. So are they using Robert's Rules of Order to conduct their meetings? Because per Robert's Rules of Order, there should be some room for deliberation. So that's what I'm thinking. That's why they're asking this question, is because they may be familiar with Robert's Rules of Order, and that, you know, Robert's Rules permit you to be able to deliberate when things are on the floor. So do we have like a suggested version? Go ahead.
If my memory serves me correctly, I do believe that there's an opportunity on the floor for us to discuss the committee's recommendation. So if you mean deliberations by discussing what the committee has recommended, then yes. But ultimately, the resolution that is typically voted on is the resolution that's submitted from the committee, even if it's a modified resolution based on debate or deliberations that has taken.
Right. That's a better word, debate. That's a better word for what happens on the floor, debate.
Okay, so during that debating process, are you allowed to make amendments to the proposed recommendation from the committee? So will the General Conference be able to make an amendment to a recommendation while it's on the floor?
You can. We did that in Mobile. We did do that in Mobile, but it wasn't on a resolution. It was on a recommendation from the College of Bishops. We did exactly what you described. We amended a recommendation that was given by a committee. I'm looking in the discipline now, and where you would, just so folks know, where you would find this information would be in 1500.5. 1500.5, duties and privileges of members. So you want to give that a quick read through. But Dion, I am not seeing anything in the discipline that would prevent someone from making a motion to amend a resolution or a recommendation offered by a committee.
Well, I know per Robert's rules, in my experience with student governance, we I can't think of a term, but it's a certain phrase that you use, and then you have to go straight to straight to voting, and all discussion and debate ceases. I think it is something like return to vote or something like that. I can't think of the terminology, but there's a phrase within Robert's rules where you can stop all discussion and go straight to previous question. That's what it's called, previous question. And it kind of stops all of debate. Do we honor the previous question in terms like that? Because this is what people to know what freedoms they have and the language they need to be familiar with.
Yes, we do. I mean, yeah, you can make a motion to go to previous question. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, Dion. On the floor, the chair, a lot of this is up to the discretion of the chair. A lot of this is up to the discretion of the chair. And so if the chair doesn't think that doesn't interpret this section in the discipline to say that we can amend that the General Conference can amend certain parts of a resolution, then that he or she is the chair. And so that is that's how it'll be.
Okay, so I understand the powers of the chair. Now, that's what I'm asking, is are Robert's rules kind of watered down in our system because the General Conference, if it goes by Robert's rules, could override the decision of the chair? So that's what I'm saying, like...
The chair in 1500.3 where it says the duty of the president, the chair. I'm going to read it straight. I'm going to read it straight from section 3. The president shall decide all questions of order. All questions of order. His or her decision shall be subject to an appeal by the General Conference. When an appeal from his or her decision has been made, such an appeal shall be decided without debate, provided the president shall be allowed to state the grounds of the president's decision and the appellate the grounds of his or her dissent. That's in section 3 of paragraph 1500.3 of the discipline.
Okay, that's good. Someone posted another question if we want to move on. And are we through with? Do we think we've addressed enough regarding the protocol and regarding voting and everything?
Yes, yes.
Okay. The next question is, how do we vote? Do we mark on a sheet of paper? Is it yay or nay? Do we stand? Is it electronic?
A combination of those things. We will, if we do what we did last, if we accept well, actually, the discipline says that we do elections by electronic ballot. That is in the discipline on the last page of the very last page of the discipline. However, on issues regarding resolutions, the chair will ask, are you ready for the question? You say you're ready for the question. All those in favor say aye, and you'll say aye. All those opposed say nay. Now, if we get to a point where it involves, where we need something that deserves a 2/3 majority, you may be asked to stand. If you are in favor or opposed to a certain piece of legislation, this happened in Mobile. It got to a point where it wasn't clear whether or not there were 2/3 of the majority of folks who were voting aye or nay, and so we had to stand. So if it gets for those kinds of issues, you may be asked to stand. You may be asked to do a ballot on certain issues.
So is it at the discretion of the chair or the president to select which form of voting, or is there like a guideline, or is it in the discipline that says for these type of situations we have to vote via paper, for these type of situations we need 2/3, so on and so forth?
Well, for elections, you will always have a ballot. For elections, you will always have a ballot. That's, you'll never do a yay-nay vote on elections of officers or bishops. The default is to give a vocal vote of yay or nay. That's what most of our voting, that's how most of the voting will take place, yay or nay. Unless, again, it becomes hard to determine if you have the majority of folks saying yay or nay.
Right, and that term is called division, right? So if the chair says that he or she believes it's in favor of the nays, someone can yell out division, right? And they have to do another voting process. Did you hear the question?
I'm sorry.
I said, so if the chair grants in favor of the nays and people feel that it was too close to tell, can someone yell out division and they use another form of voting?
Someone can contest. This was the last scenario we just left. Someone would be able to contest the chairman's decision, and then we would, that would essentially have the same effect of the division of the House, or yeah. If you say, I don't think that was really, yay or nay, let's, have folks stand, take a ballot, whatever.
Okay, so if one of the young adults wants to contest, how do they do that? Do they just stand up, or do they all have microphones? How are they heard?
Say it again. Say it again. I'm sorry.
If someone wants to contest the decision of the chair, do they have to stand up and yell it, or is there a microphone that they have to go to?
There's a microphone that you will have to go to. The other thing that's really important is that you cannot speak unless you are a member. You cannot speak on an issue unless you are a member of the General Conference. That means you have to be a delegate sitting in the bar to speak, or you have to be an alternate who is replacing a delegate. You cannot contest an issue if you are not a member of the General Conference.
All right. Mr. James Blackman shared an example. He says, if you remember in 2010, Dr. Kennedy changed the recommendation from the Episcopacy Committee to honor the retirement of Bishop Brown and pay his retirement. So there is deliberation and debate that can happen on the floor. So that's just an example, I guess, that there is deliberation and debate on the floor. All right. Are there any other questions that anyone may have for our panelists on this evening? Does any of our panelists want to share anything else before we close this session?
Allow me, if I can, to thank Lynn, Reverend Freeman McKendra, Dion Broughton for helping us to put this together and make it available to you all. Let me thank all of the persons who joined the call this evening, and we hope that it was informative. And if you have any questions, we would ask that you will forward them to the CYAM@gmail.com.
I would recommend they send a message on our website because we have 2 email addresses. So if you go to our website and click the contact section, that goes directly to all of our email accounts. So it's best to send your comment, question, or concern to the contact tab on our website at CYAM.net.
Right. Thank you. That's all I have, sir.
Freeman. Is Freeman's mic working yet? No? No?
No, it went out. His video is just showing, I believe. Freeman,
Well,
can you talk?
well, Dion, since you're on, and I don't think we can get any audio from Reverend McKendra, why don't you offer us a word of prayer to close as we move toward General Conference, and prayer for our leadership, our preparation as we run through resolutions, and that we are rested and ready to do the work of the church as we begin on June 27th.
All right. Dear Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to prepare ourselves and better equip ourselves for your service at General Conference in Baltimore, Maryland. We ask, oh God, first for clarity of mind and energy and encouragement to do our own personal research and take time to develop our knowledge of the language that will be used and to get a thorough understanding of the resolutions and all of the things that could happen in committee so that we can be prepared and better represent the young adult connection ministry. We ask, oh God, that you would then give us traveling graces as we travel on bus, travel on train, travel on airplane, travel via the car, some we might even walk. We just ask for traveling graces as we make our way to Baltimore, Maryland. We ask, oh God, also that you would just allow us to have a business meeting to get your work done for the greater cause, Lord, but to allow us to also remain united, to not allow the things that are shared, the things to be debated, to divide us or to separate us. We ask that your Holy Spirit would rest in that place, that we would stay united and stay one body representing Christ. We thank you for allowing us to use technology to hold this orientation. We just thank you for all that you've done for us, and we just expect you to move in a mighty and definite way in Baltimore, Maryland, from now until then. Thank you so much. God bless you. Amen.
All right. Good night and God bless.